All right, everybody, welcome to another incredible edition of Foundational Flow. I'm Cody Oakland, and with me today is Ann Tam, who is a fifth generation TCM practitioner. And for those who don't know what TCM it is, traditional Chinese medicine, which in the US, by and large, has like most natural remedies and ways to rebalance and heal the body has been pushed to the side in favor of big pharma, or as I call it, big pharma. And it really is important to get information from experts in their field out in front of the masses or my audience. Hopefully, it's the masses. I don't know. Share this everywhere because it's going to be incredible. So, if you want to, let's just kind of start with an origin story for you, Anne. And I read your story, and it was really quite compelling about your second daughter, Catherine, and the trials and tribulations she went through, which then, of course, led you to a pretty life-changing decision. So I'm going to let you take it from there.
Thanks, Cody. God. So I was born in a family that's, a TCM herbalist. So my dad is a fourth generations. My grandfather is a third. So when I was younger, my dad was like, do any of you want to be an herbalist or acupuncturist? I said, Dad, no, leave me alone. Let me do my things. And I think it's the thing that when your family doing the things and you were grown up with and you see all these things all the time, you just don't want to deal with it. You just want to do something else. So when I was young, my dad is like, make us to help him to prepare the herbs and drying the herbs, processing the herbs. And while he was doing it, he sang the songs, like how to process the herbs. There's a Chinese song that you learn and so he just want to get into our brains, like even we not wanted to participate, but it's just like, hey, help out, everyone come in and chip in, do the work. And when I was 5 years old and I already know what to do with all the herbs, my brother actually, he's an acupuncturist too, and he also knowing how to slice the herbs using his hand, putting the herbs on a like a wooden in the between there's a knife, and then you just slide it with his hand like this. So we have all this technique that we learn since we're young. And so when I grown up and I came to the US and he was like, any of you? I said, no, just leave me alone. So he did. And he's very liberal. He doesn't force any of us. He just let us be. So I do all my things until I have my second daughter. And gave birth to her. And when she was 10 days old, she got very severe vomiting. So she vomit everything. It's like I see like it's no milk, nothing. It's just water come out. And then she also had a diarrhea at the same time. So I was freaking out because she was only 10 days old. Call the doctor. Doctor say, take her to the emergency right away because she's losing fluid. She can die from losing
Yeah.
fluid. So at the time, I didn't know what happened. So I just rushed her to the hospital. And while I was going there, my mom gave me a call and just check on me. I was like, Mom, I have to take Catherine to the hospital because she's losing fluid. And then my dad overhearding and he was like, what happened? And I described it to him. He was like, you know what? You have to treat her because if you don't, one day she will have seizures. And at the time, he was saying all this TCM terminology and Caesar is I had no idea what he was talking about. Okay, Dad, and I was worried about her. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you later. Hang up. And then we went to the hospital. So the hospital, they have to, her little hand is like this small. Okay, they have to find the vein from her little hands and put an IV into her hands. I was standing there, I was like crying, like pulling and crying. I was like, I wish that was me. I can help her. Like I wish I'm the one who just lay there, not her, because I feel the pain. And then it took them a while, and then they were like, well, we have to monitor her, see what happened. Took them a whole month. They still couldn't find what happened. So I just continuously trying to go to her, her doctor, and then her doctor was like, well, maybe this milk doesn't work for her. So we had to change another milk because I was breastfeeding, and supposedly breastfeeding is the most natural milk for the
It is
baby.
it's the best one out there.
Yeah, but then she can even take my milk.
Yeah.
And I had no idea why. So then they have to source and different kind of milk, test it out. At the end, we found this milk is like no dairy, non-dairy, nothing in it. It just they use some sort of fish in there because it smells so fishy. And then that's how she can take it. But she can only take half of the ounce of the milk every hour. So I do all the things they do. And what happened was later on they found out that she has gastric reflux and they said, okay, I have to give her a Zantac. Make sure you give her, a certain amount of just shoot in her mouth and using the syringe and get into her mouth, her system before you feed her any kind of milk. But she can only take her stomach can only take half of an ounce. Um, Sometimes if I just being impatient, because this is how I fed her. So she was drinking the milk. She only take 2 sip, bup, bup, and then I have to burp her. Because if I let her take 2 sip and more, she would choke and then she would vomit everything, like everything that I did in the morning.
Like a tiny little geyser.
Yeah, because she can only take half an ounce
Yeah.
every hour. So let's say if I start feeding her from 8, and then if she got choked at 1, whatever she had at 8 a.m., vomit everything out. So I have to be really patient with her. It's like to zip zip, pick her up, burp her. Make sure I have to hear that burp, okay? Until she burp, and then I give it to her again. So I learned the patience from being her mother. I mean, I used to be really like quick, fast, everything has to be fast. But since I had her, it trained me to be a patient person.
Mhm.
So I was really patient with her, and she finally, I mean, 2 sip, this is how she can finish the whole half an ounce with an hour. An hour later, she's finished. So that means, and then we're talking about burping her, putting her on my shoulder here, make sure she sleep a little bit, and then here, start another one.
Rinse and
So she
repeat all day
is the
long.
repeat all day long. Okay. So in between, I have to make sure she was on here and then checking on her diaper, make sure she has enough, fluid come out too, and make sure she's like pooping and everything. So it just and the thing was I follow everything the doctor says. So she take 8 times of the Zantac a day in the beginning. And slowly, because she grows, she need more milk. So we develop into like 11 times a day. So 11 times of Zantac every time when I feed her with the milk, I have to give it to her. So that means 11 hours of feeding a day.
Wow.
So I have no life.
No,
I
that
had
is a
no
full-time
life.
job right there.
I had no life. I can never shower. I can never do anything. I mean, I literally just everything is her. So then I can only shower once a week. And this is how I shower. If I shower, I have to get my the baby, they always sit on the swing chair,
Yeah.
but she cannot sit on there for long because she needs to feel and smell me. And when baby's sick, they just stick to the mom. They just
Mhm.
love to smell and feel the comfort from the mom.
Her
So
heartbeat,
she
her
all
breathing.
yeah, right. So she always want to be attached to me. And if she doesn't feel like I'm around, then she would cry. And if she cries, she vomits. If she choke, she vomit. If she cough, she vomit. Okay.
Uh,
So I can never let her cry. She's like a whole protected baby. And here's the thing too. So when I have to take a shower, I have to take out all my clothes, put it next to her, and make sure she's fall asleep already. She's like asleep. Put all my old clothes there, and timing 5 minutes because after 5 minutes she's starting to smell something wrong, or maybe the smell from the shampoo conditioner. She will wake up, and if she wake up, she doesn't see me, she would cry. So I can only jump in there, wash really quick, come out, and then my sister will help me dry, and I just put on the clothes. She just helped me to blow dry my hair. I have to pick her up right away. So it's a lot of effort and work.
Clearly,
It was,
clearly worth it.
yeah,
But
but then as long as she doesn't vomit,
yeah,
and I feel like I'm just I'm good, you know. So as long as she keep the milk inside her, and I'm good. So we also cannot expose to any cold or wind because if I open the window and the wind comes in, she would cough and she would vomit.
so any
Okay.
type of environmental change, heat,
She
cold.
can never have any environmental change. The room that we stay in is always airtight. So the door, I have to make sure I put those like AC thing in at the bottom. So make
Yeah.
sure there's no AC coming. It's actually, we don't turn on AC. It's just that wind from outside cannot get into the room. And I think the room temperature has to be over 110.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So one day of the summertime, and because she was born in 2008. So in 2009, that summer, it was super, super hot. And I remember because I have never been to like, and I remember everyone complain, oh, this summer is so hot. We never been to like a weather like this. But I have to give her a turtleneck with a sweater on and then another robe. She has to have a beanie and a cap, all gloves and all socks. I had to cover her like this, and it was 109-degree outside.
So was that an issue with her hypothalamus and being able to regulate temperature?
She has what we call, well, later on I found out it's because her immunity. So
Yeah.
she has very, very low immunity. So anything from outside can easily get in, and then it will attack her and affect her. She was starting to have like runny nose, and then she will have the cough,
And then the vomit.
and then the vomit.
But that was always the prize at the end.
Yes.
So at what point did you kind of start to think maybe there's a different way?
Well, so I follow everything the doctor said until 8 months old, and I took her to her specialist. So the doctor, well, actually not yet. So this is what happened. When she was 8 months old, her seizure actually kicks in. And so I live in a place that is close to the Asian communities. And there was one time I was like, okay, Dad, we're gonna go and have breakfast with you. So let's go to this pho place, the pho, Vietnamese pho. When you go there, and then they have like the bean sprouts and then
Oh, I love
lettuce.
it.
Yeah, the bean sprout, no lettuce, but the
I
mint
know, I
and
know
then
right what you're talking about.
lemon, lime, all that, right? So they
Yeah.
just put it on the table for you.
Yeah.
So I sat Catherine down on a high chair, and then I turn around and adjust my seat. And right away, I heard a woman screaming. She was standing across from me, and she pointed to Catherine, and she was saying in Vietnamese, she's like, grab the lemon, squeeze into her mouth. And then I turned and I looked, and she was like shaking and stiffing, and her eyes roll up, and then all stiff, and then she has bubble come out. I had no idea what it was
That's
because
terrifying.
it was terrifying because I didn't expect this. I mean, all I knew is that I need to keep the milk inside her. She doesn't vomit. And that's my job, right? And make sure to keep her warm. She doesn't vomit. She doesn't cough. She doesn't, have runny nose. But I had no idea she was like react like this. But I heard the woman say, grab the lemon, squeeze into her mouth. So without a doubt, I just grabbed the lemon, squeeze into her mouth within a second. Like not even she relaxed. Her whole body relaxed. She doesn't like shake anymore. So I was like, okay, what to do? Okay, grab her. I'm like, sorry, we have to go. Take her to the hospital. And she stayed in EICU for the whole week. So they monitor her brain, and they was like, oh, you're pretty lucky because she seems fine. And if any baby they have any seizure more than 3 minutes, the brain will damage. So basically, you will have a damaged brain, kids, and that will live with you for the rest of your life, right?
Wait, let me ask real quick. Did anybody ask you if there was any type of intervention that you said, yeah, I put some lemon in her mouth?
No, I did not, because my dad was not here yet. And
Okay.
I was there by myself. I just, and then at the time, uh, my ex-husband, he was parking the car, and I just take Catherine in first and then tell people how many party we have and then set her down. And I was there all by myself. But that lady actually saved me and saved her life. Okay. So I had no idea. And so we stayed in the hospital for the whole week. And then my dad came up to me and told me that I told you this is going to happen. That actually rang my bell. And I had no idea what he was talking about when she was only 10 days old. And I was like, Dad, so why? What happened? He was like, she has the digestion problems. If you don't fix the digestions, she will have all this mucus jamming inside, will block her airflow. But I was like, I still didn't get what he was talking about because I was not an herbalist at the time, and I just don't want to deal with anything about herbs. So then I was like, okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what happened. We'll see what the doctor said. Okay. So I was really skeptical with my dad. And I was like, okay, let me see what the doctor said. So I went in, stayed with the doctor, all the specialists, and I asked them, do you know why she has this? Why happened? They said, we don't know. Some kids just have it, and some they outgrow by themselves, and some will have it for the rest of their life. We just don't know why. That doesn't sound right to me because my dad right away told me why. And then they told me they don't know why. And then I was like, so what can I do? And then they said, well, you now have to, well, we monitor. So if she has it one more time or really frequent, then we have to give her medications for the seizures. And I was like, okay, so we monitor, but I remember the piece of lemon saved her life, right? So I always carry a piece of lemon with me everywhere I go. Okay. A week later, it happened again. So right away, I squeezed the lemons in and she relaxed. Another week, it happened again. So I squeezed it again. Then I was like, no, this doesn't look right because it's happened so frequent now. So I went to the doctor and doctor said, well, since it's happened, you have to give her 3 times of the seizure medications. And
Three different medications?
no, same thing,
Okay.
same one, but she has to take it 3 times a day.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I was like, how can I do it? Because she has to take 11 times Zantac a day, plus 3 times of that. That means 14 times a day. But every time I take a syringe out, she would want to cry, and I can't let her cry. If she cries, she vomits. So I have to do all these different tricks. Sometimes I was like, look, there's a bird right there. Shoot in, right? I would make all this like joke crowns. I don't like iPad and phone and TV. I don't even have a TV at home, but I would have to get an iPad and showing all these different kind of videos and kind of like excite her. And so hopefully her mouth open so I can squeeze in.
Ugh,
So I do all the trick, and I cannot do all this trick 14 times a day and every single day.
it's a lot.
So then it's a lot. So I talked to the doctor. I was like, okay, so what can I do? Is there any way that I can just, instead of 3 times, I squeeze into 1 time, and then those Zantac, instead of like 11 times, I do it into 5 times. So it's less for me. And then they were like, well, you can because she's still 8 months old. And then at the same time, if you're trying to give her more Zantac, that means she has to drink more milk. Have you ever tried to give her more milk? And she's okay. I said, no, because every time I give her more than half an ounce, she would vomit. Then they were like, no, then that means you can only give her half an ounce. So, but then because of her age, her body weight, she's underweight already. So you have to give her enough milk. So that means it's 11 times a day. So then I was like, I talked to a specialist, like, so have you ever seen any baby they got better, from this? So this is actually woke me up from this. And she was like, well, some baby they grown out of it by themselves. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, well, they will get better by themselves. Their immunity is stronger, their organs better, they can digest the milk, they can eat the solid food, they can, then they don't need to take these medications. And I was like, so um, will Catherine be like that? And she was like, I don't know, because I haven't seen her having improvement. So she still have to be monitored and taking all this Zantac. And I was like, what if they don't go out, get better by themselves? Then you need to rely on this. And I was like, so all this time I giving her all this medication wasn't treating her? She was like, no, this medication wasn't treating her. These medications help her to guide the food go down so the food won't stay in the stomach and vomit it up. I was like, so what if her stomach doesn't work and doesn't function normally? So what am I gonna do? And she was like, well, that means she has to take it for the rest of her life. And at the same time, I was born with this, and I'm still have to take the Zantac daily. That woke me up. Like,
Mhm.
and then right away I asked her, doctor, how old are you? She was like 34. And I was like, 34, my kid is only 8 months old. How can I be able to protect her and make sure she have all these protections and be able to go to school regularly like a normal kid? Because it's like summertime. I have to wear her like this. When I take her out, everyone look at me like, are you nuts? Like, are you crazy? Why you put your kids like this? And so I was like, okay, so I have to make some change. Then I was like, I don't see any result from this. And I went all the way from the Western and I don't see any answer. So I finally turned to my dad and I
Finally.
asked, and I talked to him. I was like, Dad, what you told me, it kind of makes sense. Okay, because I see that every time she has runny nose or she cough with the mucus, that's when I starting to see that she's vomiting. So what should I do? How can I do? And he was like, you know what? Just cut off all the Western medications, give her 3 times of the herbals, 3 times a day. And I was like, 14 times, 3 times. Okay, yes, this is like, right? And but then I was like, I was kind of skeptical too. I was like, well, what if it doesn't work? I always have the Zantac and all this with me. I can always give it to her, right? So I was like, okay, let's try. So he made the herbs, and then I just used the syringe and give it to her 3 times a day. In the beginning, she still vomit here and there, just like Zantac. Sometimes she vomit too, but not like vomiting like the water hose, like that. Okay. So I was like, okay, it seems like okay, everything's settled. Seems like she's sleeping better. Seems like her poop is better. Because before her poop, I always have to make sure she can poop, but then sometimes her poop is like all over the place. It smells differently. It's really weird. Um, so this is how I learned about the poop and all this stuff and pay attention from her. This is in the beginning.
But
And then later,
by the way, for everybody listening, we're going to get into some poop today.
I know.
It's a
It
hot
doesn't
topic.
sound like, yeah,
We're gonna
yeah. So then I talked to my dad. I was like, okay, dad, so um she seems like her poop is good. And he was like, well, monitor her poop. So if she pooping 1 time a day and the brown color, that means her organ's starting to work well. Okay. So I monitor every day and I monitor the shape because she's still wearing diaper. So you can't really see the shape because everything's gonna smush in.
yeah.
But I look at the color and everything. And um, a month later, I tested her. So a month later, I tested her. I let her cry. Okay. So she was a protected baby for 9 months. So when she was
That
9 months
was a
old,
risky move.
it was like really risky, but I have to test it somehow because because I don't know if it works, right?
Uh-huh.
So I let her cry and I take out her iPad. I didn't let her watch. She cried. She didn't vomit. So I was like, hey, this worked. She didn't vomit. So, but then I was like, but then she ate. I didn't let her cry right after she ate. So I was like, I tested again later.
Yeah, don't push it.
Yeah, don't push it.
Take the
So
win.
then, so then I, you know, introduce more solid food, let her try a little bit more of different kind of food. Seems like everything settled in. She doesn't vomit. And then 2 months later, I let her cry right after she ate. She didn't vomit. She did not vomit. And I was like, hey, this work. Okay. And I haven't seen her having any seizures, anything. And then slowly I can be able to bath her and she doesn't even have to wear turtleneck. And then I can starting to open the window. She doesn't, have runny nose. And then 3 months later, I let her cry and I even be able to shower her every day. No problem. I was like, okay, seems like she's fine. So since then, she never vomit, no more seizures, and she'll be able to go to school with normal kids, even with the AC on, and participate all kind of different sport and different things, no problem. So I was so thankful that I have my dad. So after she got better, because all this time I've been protecting her and taking care of her, I never be able to sleep well since I gave birth to her. She always sleep on my shoulder because I cannot lay her down. If I lay her down, she choke, she would vomit. So she always sleep like, like standing up. So every night I have to put her on my shoulder and I will ask I bought a chair, like kind of like a sofa chair, have the armrest, put it on my mattress, on my bed, and my sister will help me to wrap around me and make sure if I fall asleep, she won't fall. So
Oh,
every night she has to help me. But sometimes she will get stiff and she move around. And if she move around, I will have to wake up and wrap myself and then walk her and kind of like soothing her and singing and then make sure put her back to sleep. So every night like this until she actually got better. I don't have to do that anymore.
and you did it with herbs.
I did it with herbs.
See, here is a fundamental problem in Western med is they're very reductionist. That's why one person can have a dozen specialists. They all
Correct.
they all just look at one organ. They don't even look at systems. They look at an organ. You got a kidney specialist, a liver specialist, prostate specialist, a breast specialist. I mean, how are you ever supposed to get real answers and then create an environment where the body gets to work in harmony and unison? And
Correct.
that's the really cool thing about Chinese medicine. Not only has it been around for thousands of years with, quite frankly, a very good track record,
Mm-hmm.
but once the medical establishment was commandeered by big pharma, um, it's just not encouraged. So your doctor had no idea that your daughter could get better. Not only
Correct.
did she didn't know if she could, she didn't know how to help her, which is why they
Correct.
gave us Zantac, which is just it's a practice of managing symptoms because medicine doesn't heal anything. They don't heal anybody. They manage symptoms, and hopefully your body, in its inherent ability to mend itself, can do the heavy lifting. So then, what the Chinese medicine is designed to do just that, to rebalance and reharmonize. Correct?
Right.
Right on with that.
So in TCM, you are totally correct. So in TCM, we look at the body work as a whole.
What?
So everything work together as a
That's
whole.
crazy.
We don't we don't see eye as an individual eye specialist, heart as a heart specialist, because we as a herbalist, you can pretty much work for everything. And all of the organs, they all work together. So they never separate.
Nope.
So that's why when my dad told me, oh, it's from her digestion, she has mucus, and then the mucus is blocking the airflow. Um, it makes sense to me because I pay attention on her with all this time, and I see that every time she has runny nose, I was like, uh-oh, she's gonna vomit. And then when I see that she cough and then has some mucus, I know she's gonna vomit. So it's all this thing, it has a trace, and I pay attention on her, and I can see that. So what happened was when my daughter got better, but I got really sick because all this time I got so depleted and I was taking care of her. I never really have time for myself. I got to the point that certain I could faint anywhere. Like literally my sister wedding on the day she was wedding, and I'm a sister supposed to help her. In Asian culture, family help each other, right? But I would disappear for the whole day because I faint. And they were all in the house, and all of the sudden I just faint in the living room and everyone left already. I faint and I was supposed to go to the car and follow them and go to help them to take pictures and stuff. And after like I don't know how long, my eyes open, I was on the floor and the whole entire house empty. I used all my strength to crawl myself into the room. I hang myself halfway on the bed, and this is how I stayed there for like a couple hours. And then I woke up. My mom was there and she was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I think I had a fever because I feel so hot." And she touched me, it's like 105. And I faint and has like fever constantly all the time. So my dad was like, "You are so depleted, you are so weak, you have to take care of your body now." So then he gave me all this formula, work on me. So since he's starting to help me, I never has fever again, I never faint again. And then I was like, you know what? This herb works. I was like,
Hey, there's something to this multi-thousand year practice.
yeah, I was like, you know what? They actually work, all this time, I looked down at all these things and they actually worked on me and my daughter. And so after my daughter got better and I got better, then I started to have time for myself. So I was sitting there one time, I was like, how could that piece of lemon save my daughter's life? I was like, why? So I always have that question, why, right? So then I go and search and I type in English, nothing came up. Okay, let me try in Chinese. So I put in Chinese and then it come up and then it come up with one of the professor talk about why lemon works. So it's like, okay, um, that's interesting because how ancient, you know, TCM would know that lemons will help you to save someone who has something like this. So then I email him, he ignored me. I email him in because I write traditional Chinese, so and he's from China, so I have to translate into the simplify, and then I email him again with the simplify. He also ignored me. Then I sent him again, explaining to him about what happened to my daughter, and I like what he talked about, the lemon, and then I was like, I really want to learn more, and I want to know if he would like to take me as his student. Uh, so in China, they don't take student like this. So you have to have a basic fundamental. You have to really learn from the basic and to the university. So I asked him, he ignored me, and then until I sent him a couple more, just constantly send it to him, just co-email. And then his secretary finally emailed back to me and say, um, the doctor would like to talk to you. So then I called him and I was like so happy. And then the China time here, the time is totally different. And he was like, he can talk to you like around 9 a.m. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna make sure I stay up until 12 so I can talk to him. So I called him and talked to him, and then he was like, I cannot take you as a student. And at the time, because I speak Cantonese and I also speak Mandarin, but his Mandarin is a little bit different in China because I learned the Mandarin in more like a Taiwan
Okay.
tone. So
Yeah.
it's lighter, but in China it's a little bit stronger. So it's a hard time for me to understand him, but I trying to understand. So I repeat myself so many times just trying to understand. And at the end, he was like, well, you can come over and then take some course with me. but you're not going to be like officially student, but you can take some course. And then if you want, I can take you as a student to work in the hospital, just, as, apprentice. I was like, whoa, I got a lottery. I win a lottery. So told my dad right away. He's like, yeah, do it. And then so I went there, come back, went there, come back and studied with him. So what he told about what I learned later is because our food has five different taste and flavor,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have spicy, we have sour, salty, sweet, and then we also have bitter. All these five different flavors, it go to different organs. So the food you eat, if you want this food to go to certain organs, to direct to that organs, this is how they find out. Even the herbs, they taste it. So let's say some herbs has five flavor taste in there. So which is one of the herbs is called 五鸡子, which is like they have bitter, sour, spicy, salty, and even the bitter no, um, which is another sour, bitter, salty, sweet, and they also have the sweet in there. So they have five different tastes in there, and that is one of the herbs. So that means these herbs will go to five different organs. So salty go to the kidneys, which is why people have kidney disease. They have to stay away from salt because salt direct to kidneys. And then sweet, it direct to the stomach and spleen. So honey is good for stomach and spleen. That's why it's good for the gut. Okay. Sour, it go to the liver and gallbladder. And then bitter taste is go to the heart and then the small intestines. Spicy go to the lungs and large intestines. So for example, if you get a cold, you have some ginger, right? Ginger has a spice in there. And then it will help you to get rid of the cold because it helps you. The lungs should open up the pores and push out the cold. That's why ginger is really good for the cold. But if you don't have the cold, you should not have ginger. So people do all these ginger shots or the juicing, wrong. Big no-no.
Big X.
Yes, big no-no. Okay. So now, so the lemon is sour and liver control muscle. When she has all this mucus jam in there and the muscle is tightened up, that's how the air cannot flow up to the brain.
Mm-hmm.
If I squeeze that lemon into the mouth, it gets to the liver, it's relaxed the muscle, is open up. That's how she has the oxygen go up to the brain. Just like that.
Just that simple.
Just that simple.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It's incredible. I was like, wow, it's answered my questions. So I was like, wow, so I really want to learn. So I went to study with him. And then after that, I came back and studied with my dad. And I was like, wow, dad, you know a lot. Like I, I, I always never think that you know that much. You actually know a lot.
See, you have to
So
get old enough to realize your parents could be pretty smart.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Like like a lot of time people, um, it take them a long time to figure it out. Like, like which is why a lot of time people is like, you have to find a good doctor because when the good doctor, they know right away what is, you know, the thing or the cause of it. And he knows exactly when he look at the symptom, he's like, oh, this is from this. Oh, this is from this. This is from this. So I was like, wow, and he was like, I was like, this is, I never find this from textbook. I mean, even some textbooks say it, it doesn't, because I think maybe because my Chinese is also limited too. Because in Chinese, there's when you go to those ancient texts, which is the textbook, is talk about the TCM. Usually they say those phrase in like maybe 10 words or even 15 words. It will explain like a whole story. Okay. And
Mhm.
I'm not really good at that. I mean, I can slowly kind of digest it, but I'm not good at that to break those down and then turn it into the story. But if you tell me one thing, and I can slowly connect them, and I think it's because I do have that um, gift that's from our ancestor, because we have that gift in us. So when my dad point those out and I can connect them right away and I can understand right away. So he got those from the experience from our ancestor, like
Hmm.
real life experience. Because what they do is like they go to different village and they treat all the poor people. And our first ancestor was working in the Imperia. And so they have all this we call the wellness disease, like healthy disease. People have a lot of money, but they would have extra, like diabetes is extra, right?
Heart disease.
Or yeah, so or high blood pressure is extra,
Uh-huh.
or cholesterol is extra. But for the poor people, it's always deficiency, like blood deficiency, depletions, and weakness, or some sort of um, virus attack, like skin disease and stuff like that, which normally the wealthy doesn't have. So I got to learn from both, from my ancestor, and pass down all the textbooks. And so after I learned it from my dad, and I take all the textbook and all the book that my ancestor written down, and I starting to read, and then I would have my dad sitting there and ask him. I was like, Dad, what do you mean with this? And he was like, oh, this is this. So he pointed out a lot of things. So I got to learn all the fifth generations and all the experience they have, and then give it to me in a short period of time. So I got
You,
really
you
lucky.
definitely jumped into the deep end of the pool with this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think probably a really good moment for you was realizing, having spent time with this amazing Chinese physician in the home country, and you come back and you realize, oh shit, my dad knows all this stuff.
Yes, because I never, because because he's a professor, he's really
Yeah.
well known, right? So I was like, I never think my dad would know all this and even more than him. So I was like, okay, I go. And then my dad was like, okay, go, go. He support me.
You'll find
Go.
out.
Yeah, go. And then I come back and I learned I was like, wow, dad, you actually knows a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You needed that other experience to be able to open yourself up to hear your dad's knowledge.
yes,
And
yes,
and it was
definitely.
there all the time.
Yes, definitely.
It's
So
funny.
then, so it's funny because I remember when I first worked with my dad, and then first thing he always asked people, can you poop? And then people was like, yeah, I can poop, you know. And then he was like, what does it look like? It's normal. It's
They
normal.
they don't know what normal means.
They don't know what normal means. They don't know. So my dad would say, tell me the color, tell me the shapes and all that. So I was like, why he ask people poop all the time? I mean, I learned it from my professor about all those basic things, like, but then I never really see him hearing him asking people about poop. So then when I was with my dad and he always asked people about the poop, and then so I learn and learn and learn more. So at the end, and then every time people come back for follow up, they would describe it. And then when they describe the poop and when they, talk about how the shapes is, and then all the symptoms that they used to have is also going away too. Okay. So I was like, okay. So I guess looking at the poop is a good thing to look at. You know?
Every time, every day.
Yeah. So then, so that's, slowly learn it from him, work with him. And then until um, I become an herbalist and starting to see my clients, starting to be able to have my own clients and take care of my own clients. And trust me, all these years I hear people say, first thing, my poop is normal. And it's actually not normal.
No.
So so one day I was teaching, I used to have a class to teach acupunctures. But then I haven't had time lately, but I will work on that one day again. But so I was teaching all these acupuncturists, and then one of my acupuncturist colleagues, she asked me, she was like, Anne, I think you need to write a book about the poop because seriously, we we were in acupuncture school. We never learned about this, and we don't know anything about it. We know kind of just not really into detail, into like the depth. So I really think that you should write a book about this because not just only this book going to be a really good textbook, but it's going to be a very good book for the people who wants to know about their gut, their health. So I was like, wow, this is a lot of work because I have so many things to do. I have tons of lists of goals that I put down that I have to check off. I'm like, okay, I will work on this. So it took me about, God, we talked about writing this book almost 4 years, so it's finally finished last year.
Do you have something you can show us?
Sure, let me see if I can share my screen here.
You know what? I mean, our bodies are exceptionally complicated, and everything has to
Yes.
work in the right flow at the right time under the right conditions.
So
And
this
what
is
I, hey, there it
the real
is.
book. This is the real book. It's called the Poop Book. And then it will have all the photos in there and show you
What it should
um,
look like when you're
with what
there.
the shapes look like and how and breakdown. So I'm going to give you a little bit of what is in there on the screen here. So we have different chapters, and then we also explain it from how the food turned into the poop. So sometimes people don't understand. They're like, God, you need to poop. I remember I had one of the video I posted on IG and TikTok. And I had these consultations with my client and I told them, no, you had multiple times of poop a day is not right. It's not normal. You should only have one poop a day. So that video went viral. It's more than like 3 million views. And I remember I went to that videos and all these people was saying that you are wrong, and you know, if you don't poop, every meal, you're gonna all this toxic will pile up and pile up and you will have all these problems and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Hmm, really? A lot of people don't know about what is the right poop and what is, the good poop and how our digestions work. I really need to get this book done. So that after that video is actually encouraged me to really get this book done. Okay.
Mhm.
So now this book is out. So it will tell you from how when the food get into your mouth and it slowly get into your stomach, into your spleen, and how the food will process and it get into the small intestines and how the spleen extract the nutritions and turn them into the blood and how you have all this blood and how um, you end up having the poop and the shapes and the color and all that. So if the people say they should poop many times a day, that is wrong. So here's why. So if you're pooping many, many times a day, that means your body not taking the nutrition. It just go down too fast. But if you only poop maybe once every few days, that's also having digestion problem too. So you should only poop one time a day, and the time should be in the large intestine time. So the large intestines time is from 6 to 7. I should not, people should not wake up at 5 and poop. It should be 6 and 7. As soon as you wake up, you should have a good big poop.
I'm
And
right.
the poop,
I'm right on track then.
yeah.
I,
So
I
the poop,
yeah, I get up and I drink a pint of water.
mhm,
Just what I do, and bingo, there it
yes,
is.
yes. And the stool should look like this. This is called a normal poop, a normal healthy poop.
There it is.
Yeah. So if you monitor your poop every single day. And if you do get a poop like this every single day, every morning, one time a day, that means right here, all of your digestions, meaning your stomach, your in your spleen, your pancreas, your small intestine, your large intestines, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your gallbladder, they all work together and function properly.
It is, I find it interesting that something that is so important to your overall health and an indicator of what's going on inside.
Yes.
Most people don't like to talk about it. They'll go, "Oh, that's gross. I don't want to talk about that." My wife and I, we discuss our poops because it's important. It's like,
It's important.
did you have a good poop today? Right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
here's the uncomfortable truth. Your mouth is connected directly to your anus.
Correct.
Bulletin.
Correct.
It's
It is.
so
You're so
everything
right.
that goes in the front end is at some point coming out the back end. And the important part
Correct.
is, what does it look like on the back end will tell you what you're doing, maybe doing wrong on the front end.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So a lot of times when I work with clients that have a severe sickness, meaning they can have very chronic disease. Um, so for example, like certain cancer, certain, organs having cancers. Uh, I'm not saying that I treat cancer, but I would support the organs to function, to make sure the organs can function normal. So I will always look at the poop every single day. I don't look at other clients' poop, but with the severe
Yeah.
clients, I would ask them to send me their poop every single day. And this is how I can see exactly which organs is improving and which organ need the support. So then we will adjust the herbal formula and to make sure we can support the organs and to make sure that imbalances is back to normals and not gonna be have all the too much dampness, which is like the mucus, or too much heat or dryness. Because if you really think about our body, it's complex, but it's also very simple. So complex is we create a complex, really. Is because if you really listen to what the TCM been passed it down to us all these 1,000 years, because it's been there for 1,000 years. It's not like we have to invent them. We have to find out because the answer is there already. But we just don't want to listen to them. And we always want to find out something new. So we always listen to, oh, this is the trend. This is what they have out there. And this is like, oh yeah, fasting. Oh yeah, juicing. Oh yeah, just animal only, no
It's the
veggie.
next shiny thing.
Yeah. But you don't have to because if you follow everything our ancestor passed down, I always talk about this with my acupuncturist too. I told them, I was like, you know what? I really don't think this TCM passed down is from our ancestor because this is really deep and very knowledgeable. And it has to be, if I'm not wrong, somewhere out there. You call aliens, you call whoever create us, or you call they pass down this knowledge for us.
If Yeah, if I were to look at it a little different way, it could be the exact same way, depending on what you think the origin is my understanding of it is that there's nothing other than consciousness.
Correct.
Everything already exists in consciousness. I
Correct.
explained this to a friend of mine who was absolutely brilliant. He would have ideas just flow into his brain all the time. He had 50 notebooks full of inventions. And he wouldn't even try and think of them. They just I said, I said, you just have a much bigger antenna than most people.
Hmm.
And yours is tuned in.
Tuned in.
Most people
Correct.
don't know that they have an antenna.
Correct.
So they don't get necessary. I mean, I think that's what inspiration is.
Yes.
You connected on a frequency level that matched something out there. You
Correct.
went beak, and you go, I have an idea.
Yes.
Not your idea, because everything
Correct.
already exists.
Correct.
So anyway, you and I are on the same page with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So which is why I think before I become an herbalist, I was looping around and my life was so difficult. It's always been until I actually get into, my path now. And everything seems like so smooth and easy. It just kicked in like that's why my professor he told me he was like, I think you're God gift because I have students follow me for so long doesn't even click in all these things like you do. So I do believe that we all have our own path or the gift that
Hmm.
we meant to do in this lifetime or we come here for. So that's why I was like, I have all this goal that I have to finish, and hopefully I be able to make it happen in this lifetime. So my poop book is the first one to give it to the general
Yeah.
and educate people, and then give out the knowledge that's all of our ancestors being passed down, and also all this TCM being educate us and giving us all this knowledge. And at the same time, hopefully I will be able to finish another book soon, which is a recipe book. So this recipe book is more for target to a body types. So we have many different body types. And then we also, let's say people have diabetes, have high cholesterol, high blood pressures, or your body is more dry, your body is more dammed. And then I create a recipe for them for the whole week. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So what they do is like they get that recipe, they make it, they eat it. Because food is the therapy.
Food is
If you eat
medicine.
it right, yep. If you eat it right, you heal. So
It's the original medicine. Food.
it's the regional correct. It's the food correct.
It's called nourishment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So that's will be my next book. I just don't know when I'll be able to finish yet, but it will come.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Um, I
Because
do want to talk about another one.
okay.
Is a lot of time people now talk about fasting and juicing. Tell
It's
me what you
all the
think.
rage.
Okay. So I can tell you, I don't agree with fasting. We naturally have fasting, and I'm going to show you my screen here. So I'm going to give me a second here. So here's the reason why we should not do fasting. So let's say in a TCM, this is our ancestor already mapped out this. They already created wellness wheel centuries. Okay. Okay. So what they do is they monitor our organs and certain organs functions active at certain time. Just like how people used to, they monitor the sky, they know when it's going to rain, when the storm is coming. So they monitor, they know our organs, certain organs is active at certain time by looking at the energy of the sun and the moon. So now if you go to the oceans, you see ocean has high tide and low tide. All this is pulled by the energy of the sun and the moon.
Hmm.
So let's say, how do they know stomach is function at this time, spleen is function at this time? This is what they map out by divided into two sections, the yin and the yang. So the yang is the daytime, which is like 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the yang energy, which is pulled by the energy of the sun. The yin energy is from 3 p.m. to the 3 a.m. is pulled by the energy of the moon. So why is that? So here, so let's say if you're looking at from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m., all these organs here has less fluid. So meaning low tide, right? Sun come out, low tide. So high tide is 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. All these organs pulled by the energy of the moon, just like high tide. So that's how we divide it into the yin and yang. Now, for the stomach time, you have to have breakfast. The reason why you have to have breakfast is your next hours is the spleen. So your next hours is the spleen. The spleen is the organ. Again, like the book we said, the spleen is the powerhouse to extract all the nutritions and turn them into the blood. If you don't have breakfast here, you're going to have a missing out. You miss out the energy that the sun help you to digest and break down the food. The spleen, if you skip it, the spleen will not have anything to extract and turn them into blood. So in the long run, you will become blood deficiency, meaning you don't have enough blood. And the blood is everything for us. Blood flow, chi flow, blood flow. So the blood is what? The blood is what can turn into the energy to move us. So if I can be able to think, that's because I have enough blood to flow to my brain. The blood is also nourishing my brain, so my brain will not shrink and I would not have Alzheimer, memory problems, headaches, clouded thinking, and also being slow. Because if I have to be having a sharp brain, I have to have enough blood to flow up to my brain. And at the same time, I have to have enough blood to nourish my brain. Blood also convert into the energy to move my entire body. When I walk, when I talk, when I move my hand, when I blink my eyes, when I open my mouth, when all of my organs functions, all need energy, and all this energy come from the blood. The blood is also the food for my entire body. It nourishes my hair, so my hair won't fall out, won't get dry, right? It nourishes my skin, so my skin will not be dry and having wrinkles and having all these big pores or aging spots. The blood is also nourishing my muscle, so I can build the muscles. It's not like whatever I eat, my body doesn't take and turn them into muscle. I just getting smaller and smaller and tinier and dry and skinny. So my blood is also nourishing my tendons. So my tendon is flexible, right? So that way I don't have any crack sounds. I can do any kind of stretching and no problems. My blood is also nourishing my collagens, my joints. So then they don't press and then they don't give you any pain. The spine pain, the joint pain, any pain, that's because you don't have enough blood getting there. Okay? So the blood is also the food, but it's also converted into the energy. It's also keeping you alive. It's also giving the energy for all of the organs. So if you don't eat, where do you have blood? That's it, right? So why you do fasting? So people often, they do fasting, they fast in the morning and they have a big meal at night. So the reason why they want to have a big meal at night is because if your stomach empty, you cannot sleep. So the way they want to do is They don't eat during the day, but at night they have one meal only, big meal, and then they can go to sleep. But guess what? It's very bad. Have you ever heard of people saying that used to be when I was young, I eat, I feel energized. But now I'm getting older. When I eat certain food or the meal is a little bit bigger, I feel sleepy and I have to take a nap. Does it ring the bell? So that means you are creating that for your organs. So your organ getting weak because your organs cannot break down the food. It doesn't have enough blood energy to digest the food. So here, because you're fasting all day, you don't have enough blood, which is the energy for your organs to break down the food. So when you have a big meal at nighttime, guess what? They don't have the energy to break down. But because you have a big meal, your body trying to take all the energy from everywhere, come in and trying to break down the food. So then you can sleep. So you feel like, oh, I have a big meal at night. I can sleep good. No. And those food will not turn into the blood. They actually will turn into the mucus and dampness. Because in a TCM way, if you have your breakfast here, you have your lunch here, you have your dinner here, when you have enough blood and when your organs can break down all the food and take all the food and nutritions and turn them into blood, you can be able to get a deep sleep from 11 p.m. all the way to 7 a.m. No problem. No wake up, no toss and turn, no wake up and pee, and light and sound will not wake you up. If people do not have enough blood, they sleep, they will probably wake up at 2, 3, or 4, or 5, and they can never go back to sleep because you never have enough blood. When you don't have enough blood, your organs will wake you up, and when you wake up, you're wide awake. You cannot go back to sleep. But when you do have enough blood, you can sleep through the whole night. Okay? So those people fasting, they don't eat all day. And then they have a big meal here. And then they seems like, oh, I can sleep. But you're sleeping is because your body exhaustions and your body pulling all the energy in trying to digest the food. But that was not because you have enough blood.
Well, yeah, that's a different type of tired,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
You want those cycles to be aligned with circadian biology. So once again, we're back to the sun and the moon.
Correct. So then in TCM, we have natural fasting every single night. So from 7 a.m., you have your breakfast, your lunch here, your dinner here. After 7, no more eating. So you naturally have 12 hours of fasting from 7 p.m. all the way to 7 a.m. That's good enough.
So what the people who like to fast do is fast when they get up until much later in the day.
Yeah,
So they're actually doing it in upside down world.
correct. Because if they eat for breakfast and lunch, or let's say they only have breakfast, they cannot fall asleep at night. Because let's say you do have breakfast in the morning, okay? And then you fast afternoon and then you fast at nighttime because you already burn out all the blood that you have. Because the food you ate and then the spleen will take them and turn them into the blood. So then here, because everything use blood, right? So if I'm talking, I'm using blood. If I'm thinking, I'm using blood. If I walk, I use blood. So throughout the whole day, you already burn all the blood. So then if you fast here, they cannot get into the sleeping. So that's why they feel like this is not working. So they fast here and they fast here and they have a big meal here and then they can sleep here and they feel like they can sleep well and they only eating less, but they also can sleep. But no. And here's the thing too. Everything needs blood. So I have people like this tell me, I'm going to fast for 3 days, a week, or 10 days. And then they were like, I just drink water. And I feel so good after I fast. because here's why. So let's say every single time you eat, the food go into the stomach, right? So let me see. I'm going to show you. So the food go into the stomach, and then the stomach will break down. So the food go to the mouth, and then it go into the stomach, and the stomach is like a food processor and ground the food. Now, then the spleen will extract all these nutritions and transform them into the chi, which is the blood. Okay, so then it go everywhere. So when you cut your skin, you see bleeding, right? When you bite on your gum, you see bleeding. So this is where it's come from. It's from the spleen, extract the nutrients and turn them into the blood, and then go everywhere into your body. So if you don't eat here, and then you also don't eat here, then you also don't eat here, and then you just rely on water, drink, and then you feel like you can sleep. So what happened was, when you don't eat, you don't produce more mucus. So here's why. Naturally, when we eat, so the food go into the stomach will break down the food. Only if your stomach is strong enough, meaning you need to have enough blood to begin with. So the blood convert into the energy. That's how, like, you plug in the electricity, you press, the start. So
Yeah.
they have energy to ground the food, right? But this is only if you have to have enough blood, meaning you have blood, that's how you have the energy. So the stomach can ground the food. But if you have a weak stomach, the food go into the stomach and cannot be able to process and break down within an hour. 1 hour later, they will turn into what we call the dampness, mucus. And when this dampness dry up, that turn into fat. So if people have a weak stomach, remember if when we were younger, we eat 5-10 minutes, we feel energized. So why? It's because your stomach can break down the food. Then the pancreas can filter and sourcing the nutrition. Nutrition get to the spleen take the nutrition and then turn them into blood. When you have the blood flow everywhere, it get to the brain, you feel energized, you have energy, right? But when you have a weak stomach, you eat, you feel bloated, you feel sluggish, you feel tired, you even feel sleepy. So now I'm saying, okay, since my stomach cannot work, I'm not going to eat. So I'm going to do fasting. So, okay, so you don't eat, you fast, you just like allowing your body not to have any more blood comes in. You just deplete yourself even more. And at the same time, just hopefully your organs can clean out all the stuff. But we can never not eat forever, right? Because I mean, when I work with a lot of people who have chronic disease, I always ask them, how's your appetite? If they tell me they have no appetite, they don't feel like eating, I was like, uh-oh, something wrong. You can see all of the cancer clients, if they don't eat for 3 days, you know they're going there. So if you don't eat for a whole week, but when you start eating, so of course they say, oh, we follow the plan. In the beginning, we just do, juicing, we do liquid food, and slowly we introduce into, but we are an adult. We're not like baby. We're born with the strong organs. You're an adult and you've been through so much for your organs to handle. And now you want to start like a reset, right? So your reset is, I'm going to starve everything. I'm going to let them deplete it. And now I'm going to start eating slowly, baby steps. Yet, but to try this hurt your kidney because kidney, we have gene to nourish our bones,
I get you freezing up a little bit, Ann.
bone marrow. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay, sorry. So the kidney gene is stored inside the kidney, and that kidney genes is help us for the growth, how long we live, it nourishes your hair, your bone marrows, your brain marrows. So when you are starving yourself, you are using your kidney genes to support your organs. So just like I'm gonna stop walking, I'm gonna stop like going to my work. I'm not gonna work. So I just lay there and I'm gonna use my saving. And
Say
guess what?
it out.
The saving gonna empty out fast. You're gonna deplete yourself even more. So even later, when I starting to get some part-time job, and then I work here and there, and slowly I get into my full time. But how much can you make extra to put it back into what the principle you used to have because you already spent them, in that whole week that you did not work. So that's not the right way.
No, don't starve yourself to get better.
Yeah. Don't starve yourself to get better. The right way is eating well, eating the right food. So in the poop book, if you look at your poop, what kind of poop you have, each sections we explain it to you why you have this poop, and then we also have what it means, which organ is not, doing well, and the imbalances of the organs. And then we also give you what kind of food that you eat will make it worse, and what kind of food you should eat to help you and support that particular organs and make sure they are better. So if you just follow that and support that organs, and your digestions will not have a problems. When you eat, you will not feel bloated. When you eat, you will not feel tired and sleepy. And then when you eat, you should not have all this like gas going up and or like burping and discomfort. So when all of your organs function well, because every food you eat, they can process, they can break down, and they can turn them into the blood. So meaning you're not using your own interest, but you are using, I mean, you're not using your principle, but you're using your interest now. Because the food you eat, they turn into the interest. So you're not using your principle. That means you live longer and healthier.
That's a nice metaphor that anybody can get their head around. don't
Yeah,
don't waste your principle.
don't waste your principle. I mean, we all born with only a certain amount of it. Everyone born with a different amount too. It's not all the same. So I always tell people how much kidney genes you were born with. You look at the baby hair when they first, born. So if they have a lot of hair when they were born, that means that person has a lot of kidney genes. Okay. If you
Okay.
use it all up, yeah.
Well, I tell you, we could go on a lot longer, but we're just coming up on the hour 30 mark,
Yes,
and I think people's heads are going to explode.
I know.
I tell you,
I'm sorry.
no, it's been great. What I would like to go into on another subsequent, because got to have you back,
Thank you,
is
Cody.
to go over what your protocol is when somebody walks in. Like how is the diagnosis? Not to use a medical term, but kind of that pathway when somebody comes in, so people who do want to come visit you will have an idea of what to expect.
Well, I do have online consultations.
I
People can
saw
book
that
me.
and I was going to bring them up.
Yeah, I do have that, and people can book me through online consultations. Once they book, we will send them a health assessment form. They need to fill out as detailed as they can. But I also need them to provide pictures. So the most important one I need is from the tongue. So the tongue can tell you so much about your organs. Um, the thing is, not everyone would want to. I mean, hopefully one day, I mean, we're working on it. We're going to have the app for the poop. So you can scan your poop daily, and then we will tell you exactly what's going on. But that is working on it. But the thing is, for now, when people come in, I would ask them to take their tongue pictures. Because when they show me the tongue, and I can tell them exactly what's going on, and I can even tell them their emotions, like what kind of emotions they have. So, uh, tongue pictures and the eye pictures, we can go on for the next,
On the iridology side?
yeah. So we look at people eye, we look at people tongue, we look at their face, and we know exactly what's going on inside.
Okay. No, that's another show
Yes.
because that's much different than poop.
Yes, that's much different than poop.
But poop is
Yes.
very important.
But poop is very important. You can self-diagnostic yourself once you have the poop book, or later on you use the poop to scan it. But for the face, for the tongue, for the eye, you need to really have an herbalist. I mean, we show you the basic things, but you also need the herbalist to help you out and point out what they see.
Yeah, there's so much to that, especially the iridology.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, where is the best place to find you?
They can go to our website, silkyearth.com,
That's
and you
S I
can
that's SIIE. Yeah.
silkieherbs.com.
Silkyherbs.com.
Yes.
And any handles on social media? And by the way, I'll put them all in the underneath the video. So
Oh,
you don't have
thank
to
you.
remember and write them down right now.
Thank you.
But make
And the
sure you
reason why we picked Silky too,
why?
there's a story as well.
Okay.
So it's Silky is a black chicken, and it's
Mhm.
originated from China. So this is the black chickens. Their skin is black. Their fur doesn't have to be black, but their skin is black, their meat is black, and the bone is black. So these silky chickens, they in TCM we use it as a herbs. So people only eat silky chicken, but they combine with the herbals and they cook it as a broth, like a herbal broth, and they would drink it is when you have depletions, like after surgery, after you give birth, and when you want to recover from a sickness, when having a deficiency on certain things. So that will enhance the herbs and will get into, because it's a broth, it get into the system right away and it will penetrate into the body. So silky is herbs, but at the same time, silky is a chicken that is very mothery and also very warming and welcoming. So it's really similar to our goal and our I would say our philosophy is because to us, we don't care what race you are. So silky chicken, if you put a duck egg, they will hatch them. If you put another egg, it's not from them, they still sit there and hatch them. So for us, it's like we don't care what race you are. We don't care what kind of sickness you have because we all have the same organs. And
And
our
red
goal
leads
is
red.
to help you feel better.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'd say that is a great philosophy to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just gonna wrap this one up for today. And I really thank you for coming on and really sharing your expertise
Thank you so much,
and
Cody.
and
Thanks a lot.
figuring out what your passion and your direction was supposed to be.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll
Have a
see
good
you on the
one.
we'll see you on the next one.
I'll see you at the next one. Bye.
Bye, everybody.